incredibly Catholic. When I was growing up, it was very much the case. There were Catholic schools, Catholic hospitals, Catholic social services, all kinds of stuff Catholic. There were two kinds of people, Catholics and publics. You had Catholic school and public school, so the other side must be publics, okay? But that meant that it had everything that it needed within itself. And when the church had to emerge out of the Roman Empire, it needed that. But we then all of a sudden transferred the meaning. And so there are people sometimes who come along and say, we are perfect in that we are out without flaw. Not the case. If, for example, someone wishes you shalom or salam, that's a wish for, it's a wish for perfection. Basically what it means is whatever it is that you need, may you have. Not just bare necessities, but whatever you need to complete yourself as a totally human being, may you have. So the idea of perfection is a different notion. When it says, be perfect as your heavenly Father is perfect, the explanation is just before that. His sun rises on the good and the bad, rains on the just and the unjust. In other words, no discrimination. No discrimination. And the sun shining on the good and the bad, all are part of God's creation. So we've come along now with a culture that all of a sudden says we're in competition with everyone. There's the winners and the losers, the good guys and the bad guys. You get the good guys and the bad guys in the movies all the time. Each has the same origin. Each is of God. Each is of creation. Each has the same origins that we do. It is only a question of perspective. Each has the same feelings, the same fears, the same hopes, the same longings. We've come along and we've convinced ourselves that some deserve more than others. You want peace? If you want peace, make sure everybody has a 50-inch flat screen television. No one will leave a 50-inch flat screen television, especially if they got cable and they go to war. It's not going to happen. If you have what you need, housing, shelter, security, enough food to feed yourself and your families, to make sure that your kids have an opportunity to be all they're capable of being, nobody would after that. Nobody would. Why would you go fight somebody for? But we wound up and been imbued with fear. There won't be enough for everybody. There won't be enough for everybody, so we have to fight for what we have. And the others are going to have to suffer. We have more than enough food in this country, and I believe in the world. There's more than enough to eat if people just simply choose to make sure that it's available. How much do we throw away every year in terms of food? We got more than we can eat. And yet we're worried about not having enough. If you look at the components of big flat screen television, it's petroleum and plastic, and the screens are glass. That's sand. And then you got a little bit of wiring and things like that. Next thing you know, you got a television. All these components are cheap, easy to get a hold of. And yet, no, there might not be enough for everybody. How many things, how many possibilities? There are those who are in fear to make sure that only boys get educations. And so this little girl winds up being shot in the face because she's trying to get other girls to have an education. It's not to say that you won't find resistance. There are people, for example, you want to get yourself shot, easy to do. Go to Latin America and try to open a school, or a hospital, or something that will help people. Somebody else comes along and will shoot you. Why? Because there might not be enough. You're going to make us look bad. We deal with too much discrimination. We deal with too much fear. We deal with too much anger. Each person on this planet comes the same way. We each, when it comes right down to it, come from God. No different hopes, no different fears. Even the Declaration of Independence will hold these truths to be self-evident, that all people, upgraded a little bit, are endowed by the Creator with certain inalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Is anybody born with different objectives? If that's the case, I'd be interested to meet them. Life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. Regardless of gender, regardless of sexual orientation, regardless of nationality or religious preference. Life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. We are challenged to be perfect as our Heavenly Father is perfect. And even now, the idea of Heavenly Father. Be perfect as God is perfect. Be perfect as the one who made us. Be perfect as that which has created all creation. But there might not be enough. We might be hurting. So in order to keep ourselves from being hurt, we will protect ourselves with trillions upon trillions of dollars to create weapons that are designed to blow people up. And that will give us security. I think that's misguided. I admire the technology. I look at it all the time. I'm aware of what's going on. I was military myself. So I can see what they've done and I understand how creative it is. But if we are more creative about helping people, we're really worried about blowing them up. If we're worried about preserving others' dignity, then we're really worried about seeing how creatively we could end their lives. We are challenged, we are called, we are invited. We are given the clue, given the answer to be perfect as the God who created us is perfect. And never before in history has it ever been as possible as it is now. We have to remove fear. We have to remove anxiety. We have to remove pettiness, discrimination. We're challenged to be better than we have been, better than what has not worked. We're called to be perfect as the God who created us is perfect. Understanding that every person we see is very much the same as us. We have to build a wall. We have to build a wall. Make sure that these people don't come up. And if they really were serious about that and discriminating against everybody, for example, who comes from south of the border, at that point you might as well shut down Major League Baseball. You're going to lose that. Make sure we're going to try to take care of somebody of a different color. Shut down Motown. Make sure that we discriminate against somebody who comes from a different religion. Much of the terms that we use in science comes from Arabic nations. We can discriminate, and every time we do that, we deprive ourselves. Every time that happens, we've lost something. Every time we tell a kid, you don't come from the right side of the tracks, so you're not going to go to as good a school, we've robbed from ourselves to say that this kid who could have been a potential Nobel Prize winner, could have potentially cured disease, is not going to be left out. And we win. No, we lose. We are challenged, we are called, we are taught to be perfect as the God who created us is perfect. And the scary part is we can't do that. May God help us to give us the wisdom, the resolve, the courage, the generosity of heart to be as perfect as the God who created us. My mom learned to drive when she was 40 years old. We only had one car, didn't need to before that. And she was apprehensive about it. But I remember what my grandmother told her, because she told us later. My mom was worried about all these cars that drew, all these people that have been driving all these years and stuff like that. There's my mom and doing the road. My grandmother said, if there's room enough for you, her, so room enough for everybody else, there's room enough for you. If there's room enough for everybody else in this world, then there's room enough for us. And if there's room enough for us, there's also room for everyone else. We can be perfect as our Heavenly Father is perfect. That's a heck of a mandate. That's a heck of a possibility. But can you imagine the results?
Woo! Yeah.
We like to gamble.
Volunteer. We do need people to help us out. So if you would like to volunteer, Jesus is watching.
Jesus is watching you.
Sign up for that in the gathering area. Also, we do need some more donations. So if you can graciously help us out, we would appreciate that. So, on that note, I will be seeing everybody there. Right?
Yeah.